Hi-oh.
Hello, everybody. I just scared the crap out of myself. What happened was I had the YouTube opened on the other screen, and an ad started playing in my ear, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? Okay, so let's do the intro. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next Champ Chat episode. Lots to talk about tonight. We have all the matches from the weekend, as we always do, but we're going to fly through those because we have to talk about the entire season. There is talk about new playoffs. There is talk about speeding up next year, starting in July, maybe, possibly. So lots of stuff happening. And don't forget Champ Chat. We had, sorry, not Champ Chat, Sackwatch. We had someone sacked. And I'm not going to call him out because I can't remember who it was. But someone said last week, why are we doing Sackwatch? It's too early. Too early. Nope. International break. Someone is possibly getting sacked. And we have another international break coming up in another few weeks. And that is the big one. That's when heads will roll. So we'll have a quick look at a few teams there. And our own Parky has been in articles this weekend talking about the potential for new contracts. 5 years, someone is saying, which is absolutely ridiculous. And on the other end, we are having emergency talks about Parky, that he's not good enough already. So it's all crazy this week. Lots and lots to talk about. But how are you guys? All good?
Fantastic.
Yeah, apart from the football part, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about our teams. We can talk about everybody else.
Some whisperings are happening about your manager, saying that he needs to pick himself up, or he'll be on Sackwatch soon. No, not just yet.
I very much doubt it.
we can maybe have a quick look at the next 4 matches, just to see how difficult they might be and where we could be at that next international window. But let's get straight into it. Hello, everybody in the chat, guys. Welcome back. I won't call everybody out today, but you're all welcome here. Why not ask you now to hit the likes and chat and do all that sort of stuff that YouTube likes, because we never do it. We keep forgetting. So let's get it done and out of the way. Thumbs up, all that great stuff. Right. So where are we in the league this week? Okay. Top of the league, we have Middlesbrough, 13 points, followed by Stoke City, Bristol City, Leicester City, all the cities, except West Bromwich Albion in 5th, Coventry in 6th, and then Swansea in 7th. Birmingham are sitting nicely in the middle on 11th. Ipswich has moved up from the lower league into 14th. Southampton just behind them in 15th. Both of those interesting, but should pick up some points soon and move up that table. Charlton Athletic have now moved ahead of us in 18th position. I don't like that. Wrexham sitting in 21st, just outside the drop. And then we have Oxford United, Sheffield Wednesday, and poor old Sheffield United at the bottom of the table. And we will, of course, be talking about that. That's a big one.
I don't like how you said that. How you said Wrexham just outside the drop. I prefer we're 5 points off the playoffs. That sounds much better. We're 5 points off the playoffs. That's where we're at right now.
Okay, so we are 5 matches in. Round 5 has completed. And the results of the weekend: on Friday night, we had Ipswich Town slap Sheffield United with a 5-0. And that got the manager fired. Charlton Athletic 1-1 with Millwall. Oxford United 2-2 with Leicester City. Preston North End 2-2 with Middlesbrough. Coventry City 1-1 with Norwich. Sheffield United got a nice little spanking by Bristol City 3-0. Stoke City took a 1-goal single victory over Birmingham City. Swansea City 2-2 with Hull. Watford lose out 1-0 with Blackburn Rovers. West Bromwich Albion lose 1-0 with Derby County. We lost 3-1 to Queen's Park Rangers. What a shite match that was, ultimately, with the result. And then on Sunday's match, we had Southampton, another draw, 0-0 with Portsmouth. So how many draws is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 draws, or 6 draws. Half the matches ended up in a draw. Little unusual, but keeps the scores low, so they don't race away from us. So what did we think of the weekend results, guys?
Fairly standard. Few surprises.
Yeah, there wasn't nothing that like. Maybe the Oxford result was maybe the biggest surprise. Was there anything else that was like way crazy? I mean, other than Ipswich just absolutely battering Sheffield United, I thought that'd be closer. But yeah, I don't know. I think
Derby
Derby.
winning away. Yeah.
Yeah. Good shout. For sure. Yeah, I don't know. I actually wasn't surprised wasn't too bad. I wasn't too surprised by much, but yeah, probably Derby. Maybe Blackburn. Just it's a surprise.
Can I go there and say QPR winning at your place was a bit of a surprise?
Is it that big of a surprise? I mean, I picked us to win. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we should have won, but I don't think it's a crazy surprise. It's a championship surprise. Happens.
Yeah.
I was unhappy with it. Yeah, look,
it's a game we should be winning. It's a game we should be winning.
Yeah,
Sure.
I just mean from a scoreline point of view more than anything. Yeah, anyone can lose a
game
game of football.
3-1. Yeah,
3-1
that's
seems
fair.
a little.
That's probably fair.
Yeah, we had some chances, didn't take them. Fortunately.
Yeah, the stats on that game are. I don't know. Watching the game live and then looking at the stats afterwards, I don't know how the stats. It doesn't make sense because it didn't feel the stats don't look anything like the game felt. If that makes sense.
If it makes you feel any better, the stats for the Stoke v Birmingham game suggested exactly what the type of game it was when it was 0.48 xg versus 0.49 xg. That was all you needed to know about that game.
See, okay. I think I was bob on that one. I think I picked that one. I think I had a 1. I know I had them to win. I might have went 2-1, but it was I just felt like they'd get you guys. Here's my worry with you guys is you guys don't, and I mean, and obviously we've got plenty of problems, but my issue with you guys is like you guys are happy like last year where you didn't just kill teams off.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I thought that might be an issue with you guys this season. That might be something that there'd be a few games where you get caught where you just weren't clinical enough or something and just didn't quite finish games off. But yeah, I haven't watched your game, so I don't know what.
No, it's a fair point. I think our biggest problem at the moment is we have too many attacking players and he doesn't quite know how to set them up. So, Stansfield is kind of an obvious starter, shall we say, but then the rest of it keeps kind of getting mismatched around, so it's not consistent. So, he's got to sort it out though.
Yeah. Steve Barton. If only we had spent big money in the transfer window. Oh wait. If only.
Well, we haven't used them yet.
Yeah, that's the problem. That is the thing. I was having that discussion with somebody on Twitter the other day. They kind of were saying, well, he's got to get result. We're talking about Parky and the rumors, that were going around after TalkSport dropped that article about we were talking about you're looking into his future or whatever it said. And they said, they were talking about that, and I was like, yeah, but it doesn't make sense to let him spend the way our recruitment works. Parky drives our recruitment. You know what I mean? We know that. They've said as much. He has the final say basically on everyone. So if Parky's driving our recruitment and you let him spend $30 million, you're not gonna fire him after the the day after the game after the window closes. You know what I mean? Let him play his players first. So, yeah, I think it's a little soon for that talk, but he's got to get results at some point, though. He does have to get results.
Okay, so seeing as we've hit it already, let's just go through the rumors and discuss it for a couple of minutes, and then we'll hit Sheffield Wednesday. So what I've heard this week in random places, a random comment on X from someone who heard something from someone saying that Parky is getting a 5-year contract, and that's why Ryan was over. Now, he doesn't need to come over for that because he has a CEO who can sign it off, first of all. Secondly, 5 years seems absolutely ridiculous at this point. He has been running on a 12-month rolling contract. Very simple. You want to leave, give us 12 months. We want you to go. We'll get rid of you. We'll pay you 12 months. Everybody's happy. Now, in fairness, that probably suited Parky in the first couple of seasons when we were in the lower divisions, you know, not to tie himself in. He was assuming maybe he might need to get out of it, I guess, as well, if he wished to do so. So talking about contracts, I wouldn't be surprised if he asked for a little bit longer contract at the moment, because the discussion has been that it'll be a 2-season kind of get up to speed and aim at the playoffs, so a shot at getting out of the league. So I wouldn't be surprised if Parky asked for a 2-3 year deal to have a bit of comfort with that. And in the event they do decide to get rid of him, he gets a bigger payday for it. So that wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility if they were having some discussions there. He hasn't played his new team yet. We've given him the guys, so there will be a bit of time there, and we can have a look at the matches afterwards. So what do you think about the rumours? We get crazy rumours in Wrexham all the time, so it's not out of the norm to get that crap. But TalkSport started it, actually, saying that there was a meeting about it.
Imagine my shock. TalkSport started it. Yeah.
Talk shite. What?
Okay, so just to finish this off, I'll pull up the matches here and see where we are. We did this already in some other videos, and this is the champ chat, so I'm not going to dive too deeply into Wrexham. Obviously, that's not the point of this show. Okay, so here we go. The next matches we have Norwich away, and then ignoring the cup, we have Derby at home, Leicester away, which isn't great, and then Birmingham at home in the next 4, and then we hit the next international break. So that's where major heads tend to roll for teams that are doing crap. So how many points do we expect in those 4 matches?
I don't know how many we expect.
What's realistic?
But I know that he's got to get something, because you don't want to be sitting. You can't get nothing out of those 4. You know what I mean? And those aren't easy matches. None of those are going to be easy. And he's got to get something, because you can't be sitting at that international break still on 4 or 6 points. If he only gets 2 of those 4, the rumors are you think they're getting bad now. It'll get real bad. Mm-hmm. And that's not an easy run of games. You know what I mean? It's not an easy run of games.
Yeah, I think I said on Ken's show yesterday. I said I don't think there's any. I don't think you'll sack him in the next international break. But if he loses 3 out of the next 4, which is entirely possible given the fixtures you've got, there will be some serious questions he needs to answer.
Yeah, I agree. It'll get loud.
So definitely the Leicester and the Birmingham are difficult matches, and the last of the 4. So the pressure is absolutely going to be on if we don't get decent results out of Norwich and Derby. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, there's a cup match in between, which would be helpful if we easily took out Reading. And we should, in fairness. That would be a major loss, actually, if we lost that now. But the question is, how strong can we go? Because we have to worry about the league. So
Yeah.
you don't want to lose that one either. But
Well,
if we
the thing is, though, we've got the group that he would probably start in that. I think it's gonna be pretty strong anyway. You know what I mean?
I think so. It should
Because
be fairly strong for the cup.
yeah,
versus
I mean,
yeah.
it's gonna be just because of what we've got left, because we brought so many in. I think what's left would still be a pretty strong squad.
Your team selection on Saturday against Norwich will kind of tell you the team that will probably play on
in the
the
cup
cup game.
Yeah.
To be honest,
I expect a lot of changes from Norwich. I think we'll see a lot of changes.
Yeah, we kind of have to.
Mhm.
So simply, we'd be thinking you really want to get at least 4 points out of those 4 matches. A win and a draw.
At least.
Well, we only got 4 out of the first 5, so
I know.
So 4 out of 4 with 2 very strong matches. Yeah, minimum 4, and that's not going to look good. 8 points is not going to look good coming into that window. Like, we'll be lower down that table if that's what we get.
Yeah, we'll be about right where we're at right now. I'd
Probably.
say.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to say if you get a poor run in the next couple of games, I know we'll touch on Sheffield United later, but I expect them to go up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Okay, Steve Barton, he's gone bowling. Hope you guys have a great show. I'm hoping we go rogue and start a team that costs the club the least.
Thanks, Steve. We'll see you, buddy.
Thanks, Steve. All the best, my buddy. Take care. Right, okay. So that's us done. We're not going to deep dive into Parky or any of that. It's already been discussed. We have that done. So before we hit Sheffield, let's just do Birmingham and get that out of the way. Why not? So let's bring that back up. Now. Have you a tough next couple of matches? Us, of course. We're going to kick your ass.
Well, every game's tough, but I would say the next run of fixtures are probably a lot easier on paper than what we've had to play so far this season.
Okay, so looking at them here, we have Swansea, then Coventry away, Sheffield Wednesday at home. That should be an easy one. And then Wrexham away. Okay, fairly mixed bag there, actually. Swansea are okay. Coventry are doing pretty well. Sheffield Wednesday obviously are pretty screwed. And then ourselves.
Yeah, the Coventry game's the one that obviously worries me out of that group. I fancy us at home against pretty much anyone. So I'm going to say Swansea. It'll be a tough game, but I fancy them. Sheffield Wednesday, obviously. And if you continue to play like you guys have, I fancy us at your place. It's the Coventry game.
Yeah. So you'd be looking for 7, would you? At least.
I would. Yeah, I'm going to say if you offered me 6-7 points out of that run of fixtures, But we could lose to Coventry and win the other 3. So
yes, Okay, so you're all good for the moment until we hit this next window and see what happens. So someone who is not good is Sheffield United at the bottom of the table. Now, seeing as we're checking the next 4 matches, let's see what they have. Fixtures, boom. Okay, so Sheffield United have played 5 and lost all of them. Next up for them is Charlton at home, which should, in theory, be a nice, easy start there. Then they have Oxford United away. You would expect them to win that, let's say. Southampton at home could be a very tough match. And then Hull away. So a much easier set of 4 for their new manager. New manager, same as the old manager.
Third time.
So what's that? That's third time the charm, yeah.
Yeah.
So is that like his home club? It is, isn't it? Or
yeah, he's a Sheffield fan. Yeah.
Yeah. So normally you would tell someone to go fuck themselves if they come back begging. But yeah, okay. So he's got an easier run of games. Are we happy with what's happened? What do you think? Normal, standard, expected, unexpected?
I mean, what do you mean? Like, as far as sacking Selles?
Yes, sacking Selles and bringing him back.
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't do it in the international break. I mean, because there was no chance he was going to beat Ipswich, and if you're going to sack him after Ipswich anyway, get him out of there. Why wait? I thought they'd do it in an international break. So, it wasn't working. You could see it wasn't working. The fans had already turned on him. The team wasn't responding to him. It was, and I like Selles. I like him. I don't hate him as a man. I'm not down on him. I just don't think he was the right fit it was just wrong club, wrong time type of thing. I think, you know what I mean?
So if they won 3-0 this weekend, do you think he'd still be gone?
No, if he'd have won 3-0, sure. But I don't think there was anything from what we saw those first 4 games that made me think there was any chance he was going to win that game. I just didn't. I never thought he was going to win that game.
His team selection for that game screamed, "I'm gonna die on my shield," because I mean, he dropped what is it, the Gus Hamer, best player.
Yeah, the best, probably he was the championship player of the year last season.
Yeah, arguably the best midfielder in the division, drops him to the bench. The striker, I forget, is it Tyrese Campbell, drops him to the bench. Yeah. It was very much of a, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out swinging my way. And, it was one of those where if it had paid off and they'd beaten Ipswich, I have no doubt we'd be sat here saying he's still their manager. The fact that they just got absolutely trounced it. I think that's I'm not sure they had decided to sack him in the international break. I think they genuinely were going to give him the Ipswich game. And I think he probably knew he had that game to pull out a rabbit out of the hat. And I think that team selection just totally backfired. And I can say there was a moment when they were 3-0 down, I think it was, and the camera sort of pointed towards him on the touchline, and he looked like a manager that knew.
Yeah,
he was done.
He was out. He was when the entire stadium, both sets of fans are chanting, "You're getting sacked in the morning," it's probably not good.
Well, they were seeing that after the 4th match.
I will say it's not good for the rest of the league though, because as much as I'm not a great Chris Wilder fan, he will get the best out of that side.
They're gonna win 5 in a row. They're gonna go on a 5. They're gonna win all 5 of those games. Watch it.
I think they'll be unbeaten in the next 4. I don't think they'll beat Southampton, but I could see them winning all the other games. He is Mr. Sheffield United. He just seems to get the best out of players, and they've got a very good squad still. But the squad is still a question mark for me, because they have recruited for Selles, and they do play very different types of football. So I think, unfortunately, for a few new signings, they might find themselves having to sit around twiddling their thumbs till January until they can get out the club, because there's a few which I don't think will feature under him.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one, because it's a little bit of a mess now, isn't it? We knew the new owners were going to mess about with the players that were coming in. We were all expecting that and waiting for it. But now he hasn't picked his summer transfers. And he's been handed a group of players that maybe he doesn't want. But his team is still so strong anyway with the core that they have. And it's mainly his core, I guess. They didn't go massive in the summer. So yeah, he should still have a decent team.
I think defensively they've changed quite a bit, haven't they? He's lost. I mean, obviously we signed Jack Robinson, who was kind of his captain and bit of a leader at the back there. They signed the lad from who was at Reading last season. I forget his name. He's on loan, isn't he? You know what I mean?
Is he on loan? He's not on loan.
Yeah, I think he's alone, because he got signed by somebody, didn't he? He's gone.
Okay.
Tyler Binden, isn't it? Tyler Binden.
Okay. I was thinking the wrong guy.
Yeah, I think he went to Forest or something, and Forest have loaned him to Sheffield. I don't think he's a particularly Wilder sort of player. He's more of a ball playing defender, which Wilder doesn't really. He's not that type. So, and they've signed a few wingers, didn't they? I mean, poor Louis Barry. Louis Barry does not play under a Chris Wilder side because Chris Wilder. Well, Chris Wilder, he's a parky. He plays three at the back and wing backs. So Louis Barry has no position. And they signed Chong, who obviously we used to have. Again, he's a winger. So those two lads basically aren't probably going to get a sniff between now and Christmas. So
Barry could play off a main striker. He'd be all right. He'd be all right off another striker, big guy or something.
Yeah, but they've got better players, strikers, if you know what I mean. So he's
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll need to do a lot in training to show
Well, what
off.
if they go? I mean, if he goes, what do you think he'll play? 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1? If he goes 4-4-2, he could play the wing.
No, he plays a similar formation. He plays a 3-5-2, doesn't he, with wing backs?
Will he play a 3-5-2? I thought for some reason I was thinking in the playoffs he was playing a 4-4-2.
He lives and dies by his 3-5-2.
Really? Okay. Right.
That will be an interesting one now for the new owners, because the talk is a 3-year deal, isn't it?
Yeah.
For him coming back.
Yeah.
So, like, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that meeting. You know, trying to discuss that. I'm going to play this way for 3 years, or I'm not coming back.
I don't understand. Why would you? You've already moved on from him, and you've already made the decision that's not what you want, and you've recruited a different style of player. Why would you go back? Why would you not just, okay, let's get it right this time and get the guy we want? Because it's obvious they don't want him in. You know what I mean? And then give him a 3-year contract. It makes no sense to me.
I did hear this week, and I hadn't heard it before. Now, I wasn't paying close enough attention, maybe. But is it true that he was offered the position when they came in kind of to stay, but he didn't take it quickly or something, and then they kind of just moved off it and lost the agreement? Because they were having like discussions about the team and what he wants to do, recruitment, stuff like this, and maybe he wanted more control.
Yeah.
And they were saying, no, you're not going to get that, but we want you to stay. And he said, no.
I think there's a few factors, I think, because from what I read and what I've sort of heard in the media is that he's an old school manager, so he wanted sort of sole control over transfers, and they obviously wanted to go a different direction. He also wasn't what the ownership wanted, you know, as a public facing. He does upset the apple cart. You know, Sheffield United fans adore him and love him because he is a Sheffield United fan, but he doesn't care what he says in front of the camera. He's not particularly PC, shall we say. He will upset who he wants. So, you know, Reuben Selles was the perfect, I think you said it, Paddy, he was a yes man. He will do everything they want him to do, whereas they have no idea what Chris Wilder's going to say in front of a camera in the press conference, because that's what he's like. I think they've just not panicked, but they've just realised they've made an absolute huge mistake in getting rid of him and thought, we're not actually going to get anyone better. He will come back because he's a Sheffield United fan, and he is a top. Him and Sheffield United just work. Could they have actually got anyone better? I'm not so sure.
Do you believe that the players just went tools down, half-hearted, 80%?
That's a tough one, really. I think
in which case almost any manager would have got screwed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? If that's the behind the scenes.
Yeah, watching their couple of performances early part of the season. I mean, watching their performance against Ipswich, I'm not sure they downed tools as such. To a degree, they did, but they reminded me of us under Rooney, where basically the players had been told to play a certain way and they couldn't do it. They didn't really understand what they were doing, and they just kind of got steamrolled, and almost of you know, doesn't matter what we do, we're going to get beat here, and it's just that apathy sets in. And yeah, I suppose it can look like they down tools, but part of me thinks they're professional footballers and they have a certain degree of pride about them.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas, you know, I'm not sure. You know, it didn't really matter what happened in that game once it had gone to 2-0. The game was over, so you kind of think, well, he's going to get the sack whether it's 2-0 or 4-0. So. I just think that he tried to change too much too soon, and and that was the problem, and that was the downfall.
Okay, have we happy with that one? Do we want to say any more? I think that's it. But
yeah, I'm good with it. I think we covered it.
Okay, so let's have a quick look at the table again, and let's do a little bit of Sackwatch for all the teams and see where we are. So let's hit the bottom of the table because that's where we need to keep an eye on. So what teams do we need to keep an eye on for the next international break? 4 more matches with not great results. Who is going? Okay, so Sheffield Wednesday next up, same story as last week. If nothing's going to happen until they get a new owner. New owner will probably change things at that point, but we've no idea when that's happening. If at all.
Here's an interesting one.
Go.
How long do we think Oxford will stick with oh shoot, his name's escaping me right now.
Gary Rowett.
Rowett, yeah.
To the end of the season, if they could.
Will they? Will they?
They won't get anyone better. If anything, they'd be more worried about Rowett walking, I would say.
Really?
Yeah. He's a top manager for any sort of team fighting against relegation down the bottom. He's an exceptional manager. For example, if Oxford were to sack Gary Rowett, the perfect person to hire would be Gary Rowett. So, yeah, I can't say. I do wonder whether he. I mean, they haven't done an awful lot transfer wise, and he was very vocal in the fact that the squad was very short of quality in key areas. But I watched their game against Leicester on the weekend. They're not a bad side, you know. They're not a great side, but they're not going to be just rolled over every week. They're going to be a handful for whoever they play. You're going to have to work incredibly hard to beat them.
Well, if you know you're going to have a tough season, and if you know you're going to be battling around the relegation zone, it makes less sense to chop and change the manager, because no matter who you bring in, even if they are better than what you have, how much are they potentially going to be able to improve it versus what you have if you think he's a good manager? Now, if you had a manager you're unsure about, fair enough, but it's a good point. If he is a good manager, who are you going to replace him with? Can you even afford it in the first place? When they can't upgrade their team too much.
Here's one. Watford's not in the top half. How long before they sack they're about due, aren't they?
That's the problem with Watford. You just don't know. You know, they might not do it, and then they get to 10th, and then they sack him. You know.
Yeah.
But it's for me, it's the Hull manager. You're looking at Hull. I know they've not particularly had a dreadful start to the season, but their owner's a bit of a basket case where if they go on a bit of a bad run for the next 4 games, I wouldn't be shocked to see the headlines that they've sacked their manager.
Okay, let's have a quick look at their fixtures. See how bad they are. So Hull's next 4, they have Southampton at home. They have Watford away. They have Preston away. Preston at home and Sheffield United at home. Oof. Sheffield United and Southampton. They could be losses.
Tell you what, Preston's playing really well lately too. So
I'm going to say normally you'd say home game against Preston's the one that they should target for. That's got to be 3 points. But the way Preston are playing, that's I think they've got to go to Watford and win. If I'm honest.
Yeah, that'll be.
That's not easy.
No, that's not an easy run for sure. Be interesting. That's one to keep an eye on. Definitely.
Okay. While we're here, I'm going to have a quick look at Watford. Didn't come up. 1 sec. Watford. Yay. Next up for Watford, we have Millwall away, Hull at home, Portsmouth away, and then Oxford at home.
Not a
Winnable
terrible
game.
Yeah, not a terrible run of games. Could definitely be worse. Could definitely be worse.
Got to fancy your chances going to Millwall because Millwall don't seem to be able to win at home this season so far.
I mean, we beat Millwall, so at Millwall, so that's got to mean something.
Yeah, wouldn't be happy with 3 or 4 points though, if it happened.
No, probably not. Yeah. We'll see.
I think they've got to look at those 4 fixtures and probably say they should aim up 2 wins out of those 4.
Yes, yeah.
Given who they're playing.
Okay, so then we have Derby County on 5 points, Charlton Athletic on 5. We all know Charlton Athletic is pretty solid on their manager. They gave him a really long contract.
What's Southampton got coming up?
Southampton, okay.
He's going to start getting some wins too at some point.
Okay, so they have Hull away, EFL Cup, and then they have Middlesbrough at home, Sheffield United away, and Derby away.
That's not easy.
That's not easy either.
That's not easy.
It's not easy. I mean, that could be boy, if they're struggling, if he doesn't get some wins in there,
they'd want to take that whole match to start that run.
Definitely.
Before. They definitely want to have that. If they don't get a good result there, that'll put pressure.
He looked frustrated after the weekend, after yesterday against Portsmouth. You could tell he was frustrated. That'll be interesting. I'll see if he can keep getting some.
Yeah, it's early days and they've got quality, but they don't seem to be putting it together. A bit like us in the matter of speaking. But I think that the thing is with Southampton is a bit like Ipswich. If for top 2, which is the aim this season, they've got to start winning games and quickly. They can't afford for this form to, they can't afford to sleepwalk to the next international break and be sat mid-table.
Okay. Blackburn Rovers, they'll probably be okay, I would think. Southampton, Ipswich. Now, obviously, they're a great team and should be doing well. Quick look what they've got before the international. We have Blackburn away, Portsmouth at home, Bristol City away, and Norwich at home. They should do okay with those.
The Suffolk derby, which I don't think Ipswich have beaten Norwich, and I don't know how long. So that's a guaranteed draw or win for Norwich there.
Okay. Bristol City doing okay. Portsmouth doing okay. Blackburn is the weak one.
If they play anything like they did against Sheffield United, they'll probably win those first 3 out of that 4.
Yeah. Okay, so that's pretty much it then, I think. Yeah, for Sackwatch. Anybody else? Anything else? No. Not unless someone goes on a disaster run of 4 losses or something, Then
Right. Yeah.
Then anybody can drop down into this list, and we can talk about that over the next couple of weeks. So, as it stands, no. I think that's it. Okay, so moving on to the next main topic for the evening, we have the playoffs. And news came out that they are in serious considerations to expand the playoffs down to position 7 and 8. So very similar to the National League, they are going to add in a sort of, not a playoff, elimination round, they're calling it, first. So position 3 and position 4 will not be involved in that first round, and then you will have 5, 6, 7, and 8 playoff against each other. So that's 5 versus 8, 6 versus 7, and they will then move forward to the second stage. That'll be a single match eliminator. Then it'll move through to the second stage where they will play position 3 and 4 in a double header as normal, and then it'll go through to the final at Wembley in a single match knockout for the win and the promotion. So just straight up, good idea, bad idea first. Where do you land on this?
Bad idea for me.
Aaron?
I see, this is one of those, I think because I've not been a fan for as long, it doesn't bother me, but I've seen a lot of longtime fans not like it at all. And so I guess it's one of those, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But I also absolutely understand why they would do it. So it wouldn't bother me either way. But I guess I just don't have like a.
You don't really care.
Yeah, I don't really care. I like the fact that maybe it gives you a couple extra chances to get in. But it's, so I like that. Maybe it keeps.
Where do you draw the line though when you start?
Right. Yeah. That's the thing. There is eventually there's got to be a cutoff, because then it's just, you could just get to a thing where you're just constantly adding more and more teams. Like for example, of course they do things stupid over here anyway, but in the USL, of course our local team is a USL team, and Indy 11, and they've got a playoff for the title. So basically, the league just seeds the playoffs, and then you have a playoff. But it's something like I think like 14 teams or something end up in the playoff. Like it's half the league basically. Half the league.
Then there's no point, because you've got 8 teams that are guaranteed to make the playoffs.
Right. It's like half. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Half the leagues, or half the league gets in the playoffs, and so I get the argument. Yeah, what's the point? You know what I mean? When you get it's a little too much, but yeah, I don't.
Okay. So my thought initially was, no, it's a waste of time. Who cares? What's the point? And slowly, as I was thinking about it, obviously from a Wrexham point of view, mainly because I don't really care otherwise, and I don't think it makes much difference to us. In a way, I think it really affects us too much. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I was looking at the elements. I see the reasons behind it. So to go through a couple of the reasons, then one reason is to not have unimportant matches at the end of the season.
Right.
Dead rubbers, as they call them. Doesn't matter. Nobody's going to move very much in positions. So who cares about those matches? Well, we already did this early in the season. We went through the points total for last year. Now, maybe it's a little bit more excessive last year, but it kind of shows the point that there wasn't many matches that weren't within shooting distance of something. People could still move around, certainly until the last 2. At the last 2, a couple of people were right in the middle, weren't going to go anywhere unless they got extremely lucky. And every result went their way. And then a couple of more for the last round, but everybody kind of had something to play off. At the top end, obviously, with the playoffs, more people were involved. But even at the bottom end, last season was very tough as well. A lot of teams were very close to that cutoff for the last 2 matches as well. So that was interesting. So from that point of view, does it really make sense? Probably not. On some years, obviously, it won't be like that, and maybe it'll make a little bit more sense. But I don't think that's a compelling argument, really, because this is the point of the playoffs. That was the point of it originally. It's enough teams, you're close enough. There isn't actually that many matches that are a problem.
Here's my thing, though. Now that they've said it, they're going to do it.
They're going to do it.
They're going to do it.
Unless there's major pushback. And
I've seen a little pushback. I don't know that I've seen major pushback.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I bet they do it.
They're already teeing it up, because the very first article, the first information we got about the fact they're discussing it, they're already telling us most of the teams agree. Most of the teams are positive about this change. They're already teeing it up. It's basically a done deal, is how I read that, unless something crazy happens. I think there's not much about this. Maybe the bigger problem will be the Premier League.
Does the Premier League have to agree?
They get some say in it because you're going up to the Premier League.
Yeah, but you're still only 3 up. What does it matter?
Well, okay, so that leads us into their argument. Why don't they particularly want it? Their initial argument is, well, it's going to potentially weaken the team that can get up into the Premier League. And the teams coming up already can't stay. So what happens if your team in 7th or 8th sneaks through into the Prem?
Let's be honest. Are the Premier League teams actually going to be against that?
I mean, let's be honest here. It's a money-making idea. The playoffs is the cash cow of the EFL. It's what it's the showcase at the end of the season. They want to drain it for more money, and including a couple of extra teams will do that. And them saying, "Oh, teams and clubs have been positive about it." Well, of course they're going to be positive because you've probably only got you've only probably got the 3 parachute teams, which are not going to be positive about it because they don't want the extra jeopardy of people being interested. And 95% of the league are all going, well, yeah, of course we'll have an extra playoff place because we get a chance at the big time. Who's going to say no to that? The whole thing, I don't necessarily agree with it because I think the problem is you start going down to sort of 7th, 8th place teams. They finished 7th and 8th for a reason. And as you saw with Bristol City last season, a team which arguably wasn't quite good enough snuck into the playoffs and 6th place. They got absolutely annihilated in the playoffs against a team that finishes 3rd. And granted, I love the playoffs. I hate being involved in them, but I love the playoffs. But also, I do have a degree of sympathy for the side that finishes 3rd because you are the 3rd best team in the league, yet you get stuck in the playoffs where anything can happen. So I am a bit sort of both sides of the fence in that one. But it's a money-making idea. It's no more than that.
Okay, so the ones that are getting screwed over to me are not the 3rd and 4th place here, because essentially nothing changes for them. They're not involved in the first round, so everything is going to be exactly the same for them. Now you're going to end up against a team who has just played a playoff. But your first round is 2 legs anyway, and it might be a 7th and 8th team, which is weaker than potentially what you would have had in your normal first round. So the odds are it's making it easier for you as the 3rd and 4th team to actually win your way through the playoffs. If you look statistically at it, is my belief. Unless you are a major advocate for the team that's coming in has just played a match, just won, they're in good form, you've had a week off at the end of the season, everybody has come down, they're not happy because they didn't get automatic promotion, and now they're going into this playoff. If you believe in that, then okay, that's an argument. But otherwise, 3rd and 4th aren't really affected here. In theory, it makes it easier for them.
I totally agree with that. It definitely makes it easier for them because the other teams all have to play an extra game. So they're already there's an advantage built in right there. And like you said, unless you believe that the hot team, but I mean, I think Sunderland shit all over that last season. It came into the playoffs just terrible for them, and then managed to win it. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting how it all plays out. I like I said, I don't. It doesn't bother me either way, and I probably would be more like John if I'd been. But let me ask you, when were the playoffs first brought in, John?
Oh, I can't remember. It's that far back.
We're pretty far back. I wasn't sure how.
Yeah, it's not ridiculously long back, but you're talking 40 years or something. 40.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the thing is that sort of what I classify as like a football traditionalist fan like myself is, I think you said it, Aaron. If it ain't broke, why fix it? The playoffs are at the moment a wonderfully, exciting, energetic games which do end up being a bit mad at times. It's got all the sort of drama that you want in a playoff. I just wonder whether it's too much of it, and adding a couple more teams, does it lose its sparkle a little bit? Then it's like, or do I want to see a playoffs? It's 7th v 8th or so. It's like,
yeah, I'm thinking a lot of people are almost going to ignore that elimination round as if it's not a real playoff, and kind of then we know who the real playoff is between, because there's still 2 rounds to go. And something that just popped into my mind there when I was talking about 3rd and 4th place is I've just realized when you're talking about rubber matches, there is a situation at the end of the season where normally 1st and 2nd may have already guaranteed their automatics, and then you have 3rd and 4th who are in a scenario that they know they can't be knocked out of the playoffs, but they can't win automatic promotion. So you might have the last 2 matches there not really being important, whereas under the new system it is still going to be important, because you don't want to slide into 5th. Because you slide into 5th, you've now got an extra match. So from that perspective, there could be a couple of more matches between the upper teams that are relevant if you can still move outside those 3rd and 4th positions on that side.
Yep. It's all about a cash grab.
Yes.
So, and yeah, like I said, I'm good either way. It won't bother me either way.
Okay. I'm really interested in this, and you guys don't really care.
No, I just didn't.
I know.
It's one of those, like, I don't know. It's just I get all the reasoning why you would, why you wouldn't. I don't know. I just kind of sit on the fence with it. I don't mind having a bigger playoff. I also don't mind if it stays the same.
Yeah. Well, I will say from both our perspectives, probably, I assume you're going to agree with this, John, is from Birmingham's perspective and Wrexham's perspective, over the next couple of seasons, we're going to keep developing our teams. We're going to get closer and closer to being able to have a good season and steal an automatic spot. So we're going to be in around the playoffs in general. So if we expect to be comfortably getting into the playoffs, we don't need this change. It's not really going to affect us. It's the slightly weaker teams that are 7th to 10th a lot of seasons that will be close enough then to just have a good season and scrape a playoff. Whereas for us, we expect to be in the playoffs within the next couple of seasons and solidly there. So from our perspective, it doesn't matter.
I think the other thing is, I know people mention the Premier League. I have no idea whether the Premier League have to be involved. I would imagine they probably have to be in some capacity, because obviously it's promotion to their division. Playing devil's advocate here, I will imagine they might not be too keen, in a matter of speaking, because they will no doubt look at it and use us and you guys as the perfect example, in the sense of
you don't need it.
They don't want us in that league. When we say the Premier League, it's the members, which are the representatives of the Premier League clubs. Now, you ask most of the Premier League clubs, you take away the top 4 or 5, the rest of that league will not want Birmingham or Wrexham anywhere near that Premier League because of the finance behind it. So to make it easier for us to get in the playoffs by making it 7 to 8 teams, they're not going to want that in the slightest. They'll want it 4 teams in the playoffs, and it's really hard to get out of this division. That's what they'll want to keep the status quo. They won't want, and it's the same for anyone else with big money behind them that comes afterwards. They're not going to want that sort of door ajar. So it's like, parachute teams can't survive, but you get somebody with some serious dosh behind you, which, if they get to the Premier League,
we can raise the money. If we get in there, we can take the couple of hundred, and we can raise more money on top, and we might just be able to come up with a team that can survive.
And let's be honest, it's a huge, I'm not saying either of us would survive, but there is the possibility. And if you were to say to a Premier League club, or a Premier League club owner, shall we say, does it matter? There's a possibility. And he's going to sit there and go, well, There's still a possibility. I'd rather there was no possibility. So, yeah, that, like I said, I want to make it difficult for anyone with money to go up. So, you know, widening the playoffs just increases that percentage of it happening.
Here's a question. What kind of game do we think those initial playoff games will be? I think they'll be awful.
Yeah.
Because it's a one-off, they'll be shitty games. 0-0 till the end of the game. You know what I mean? Just god-awful games of football.
Well, the problem you have in the playoffs is notoriously the first legs in its current format are very cagey affairs because no one wants to lose the advantage. If I'm right in thinking the sort of the preliminary round they're talking about is just going to be a one-off fixture.
Just a one-off,
yeah.
And you're going to, let's face it, if it's 7th or 8th or whatever it is, for example, that's two teams which, all right, haven't performed at the highest level for the entire season. They've been a bit meh from sort of large parts. They're going to go in those games and go, right, lads, if we get to penalties, great. Don't lose this game. Exactly. Don't make mistakes. You know, whatever you do, lads, don't concede some really stupid goals. And they'll just be snooze fest because neither team will be wanting to lose the game, and they'll just turn into defensive, you know, boring games. Yeah. That's why I like the two legs, because at some point in one of those games, somebody has to go, do you know what? We need to try and win this game.
Well, yeah. Do you really want to go to penalties on the first elimination match either? I suppose it'll open up at some point, but last 20 minutes only.
Yeah. But say, for example, you're a Millwall and you finish 8th and you struggle to score goals and you're playing, I don't know, say you're playing a Birmingham in that. You'll sit down and go, you know, if you're offered penalties at St Andrews with a chance to go through, you'll probably take it. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Like I said, the overall thing, I'm not necessarily against it all. I just don't understand why you'd want to risk upsetting the playoffs in its current form because it is such a success.
Yeah. The other thing that was mentioned, just to finish this off, is the other leagues. It was mentioned that potentially this idea would be continued in League One and League Two, and that potentially also the idea would be League Two at that point would allow the extra spot to come up from the National League and basically have a mirrored situation in all the leagues. Is what they're mentioning. But they're saying obviously with the National League they're not going to touch it until they have a full deal with the Premier League finalised and sorted. And that's part of the reason they're not changing League One and League Two either. Is all of that will be done together, but they can manage to change it now for the Championship. It's not that big a deal. It doesn't change that much. So essentially they're going to try and go ahead and do it, and that'll pave the way then. If it's done in Championship, they can do it whenever they want with the others, and then have all the leagues the same.
Well, and really in the National League playoffs, basically it's already that format anyway.
That format for the 6.
Yeah, they've already got the 6 in, so it doesn't change a ton for them. Just you add the extra automatic, I would assume. Yeah. It'd be 2 to
2 to 7, which will then change to 3 to 8, which will match up with all the other leagues then.
Exactly.
Would be the plan,
I wonder if they actually change the promotion relegation from League 2 to League 1, because can somebody explain to me why it's 4 that go down in League 1?
I would guess that might also be another one there where it'll just change as well, because it doesn't make a lot of sense. And they'll just match it with every one of them. That'll also change, and it'll become a 3. I would guess as well.
I'd love to know why it's a 4. I have no idea why.
Because they stole the one from the National League and put it up top.
Well, I suppose if you ignore, like if you ignore the National League completely as if it doesn't exist, and you're the bottom of the EFL, then you're in the lowest league, and people in the lowest league want to get up and get out. So maybe that was the idea: have a bit more movement at the bottom of the league, and then see if you can progress further from there. Give a bit more a shot rather than sitting there forever. But yeah, doesn't really make that much difference, I guess.
No.
Okay, so playoffs are done. And now on to they're going to fuck with next season.
You thought these playoffs were a good idea? Wait till you hear this.
Okay, so the general gist of this now is next summer we have the World Cup. And they are also changing the international windows. Instead of having 2 international windows the way we have this season, they are going to combine it into 1 international break, and they are going to extend it to 3 weeks, which is a joke because we've just gone through essentially a 1-week international break, or slightly more than 1 week, and I couldn't handle it. I was like, we just got back to football. What are you doing? I was bored stupid at home waiting to watch a couple of matches, and now it's going to become 3 weeks.
So just to clarify, because I didn't look into this, I just saw that they're doing it. So it's going to be like 3 weeks, but 2 weekends, correct? Is that what it?
I have the full dates here. I'll go back and go from the end of the season.
Okay. All right,
and we'll go through the whole summer and see which way it works out. So as it stands, the last match of this season is Saturday, May the 2nd, of the regular season. After that, then we start our playoffs. So we have the first leg is the 7th to the 10th of May, basically a week later. Then we have the second leg is the 14th to the 17th of May. And then the final will be at Wembley on the 23rd of May. So if you have to go through the playoffs, your last day of the season then could be the 23rd of May for the end of this year. Then we go into the summer break and we have the World Cup. So the World Cup is now starting on the 11th of June, which is less than 3 weeks from the end of the playoffs. If you have anyone who is playing in that World Cup who is in playoffs and championship. Just as a point, is it a huge amount of people who get through to World Cup teams in championship, or is it mainly only Prem? Like, do we have a lot of players involved in that at the championship?
Depends which countries make it. So
depends on the country, of course.
We could have a few. Wales might qualify. We could end up with a handful.
Calm down now.
Well, I mean, they're taking 48 teams this year, though.
I'm joking.
There's a good chance Wales qualifies.
It's one of those where realistically, if the likes of Wales, Scotland, Ireland qualify,
it could be a lot.
Yeah,
it could be a lot. And I think also you've got African nations as well, because I think there's quite a few African nation players in championship as well. So you probably would be surprised the amount that might be, shall we say?
Yeah.
Okay, so that basically is less than 3 weeks from the end of the playoffs. Then we start the World Cup from the 11th of June to the 19th of July. So over a month, basically 5 weeks. Now, of course, teams will start dropping out after the first couple of weeks once all the group stages are finished and they start going down into the knockouts. But that is into the middle of July. So one of the big things that they have said they're looking at is moving the start of the season back for next year, so that they have more time to fit all the matches in. And instead of having the league open the summer season, they're talking about having the round of the Carabao Cup actually open the season. And talk is for that to be the 1st of August. Now, if they play a match on the Friday, that would be the 31st of July. So it could open technically inside July for the season next year. And then from there, we'll start our matches for the season. And then the big international break will start on September the 21st. So another week from now. So we'll be hitting roughly 7 matches. It won't be far off where we are. Maybe more, actually. Maybe 8 matches or so. So the start of the second international break this year, we'll have 9 matches played. And it'll probably be somewhere in there 8 matches, 9 matches before we hit the.
What date did you say, Patty? Did it start?
That will be the international break, September 21st.
Okay, so 1, 2.
So later than the 1st, but before
4, 5,
the 2nd.
6. So you're saying the 1st would be like the Carabao Cup?
Yeah.
And then so the 8th would be the first. If the 8th is the first week of the season and we don't play any midweek league games
of that week,
it'd be
we
7.
probably wouldn't.
It'd be 7.
Yeah, it'd be a Friday night start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know the worst thing about this? If you're talking a 3-week international break in September, 75% of the managers are getting sacked in the Championship in that 3 weeks, aren't they? if you're telling clubs, lads, you've got 1 3-week gap between like September and Christmas to do, they're all going to go right. Yeah. Those 3 weeks, that's D-Day for managers.
And most teams are going to get those 7 matches.
What would be the next one? Do we still get a November break?
January.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So owners have 3 weeks to basically decide and figure out what they're doing at that point. Now, obviously, someone can still pull that trigger at match 5 if they want to. If they same thing again, 5 matches, no wins, they could still pull the trigger early and say, okay, interim manager for the next 2. Then we have a 3-week international break, get the new manager in, but they might have lost half their team during the international break. But yeah, that'll be a big one for next season. And then it's true to the January window. So there will be a lot of football next summer. It'll be a late finish of the season, early restart of the season. Could be fun. Maybe. But what do we now? Just as a point there, that is also going to potentially mean that we are going to have a very late transfer window, because it's likely they're going to shut it down for the World Cup, or part of it.
I don't think they normally shut it down for the World Cup.
What did they shut it down for in the summer? They took 3
Club World Cup.
Club World Cup, okay. Well, okay, even if they don't, if we start the season earlier, more matches will have been completed before the end of the window. So that's essentially the same point anyway. Yeah. You're going to have less of your transfer players coming in for a longer period of the season.
It's exactly the opposite effect that all managers say they want. You know, they all say starting the season with the transfer window still open is madness. So essentially what you're doing is the transfer window won't change its end date. You're just going to start the season weeks earlier. So you're going to play more games while the window's open. So
as League One and League Two did.
Yeah.
They started earlier. They played more matches. Yeah. Because they were 2 matches ahead of us.
Yeah.
I would assume September 1st is on a Tuesday, so I'd assume that's probably the end date for the window, you would think, next year. September 1st, probably.
It's going to be around there, isn't it? Because I think they try and snap in line with the rest of Europe, aren't they? So it's 1st, 2nd.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's I would assume it'd be right in that general. So I don't think it'd be that much different than what it was this year. That would be 4 games before the window closes, isn't that what we had this year?
No, but we'll be starting a week earlier, so it'll be at least one extra match.
But if it's the Carabao Cup, I guess. I mean,
we had the Carabao Cup anyway.
Right, but we played it midweek.
Yeah, but you've also got to factor in if you're missing
they'll play a midweek.
Yeah, you'll end up playing a few more midweek games in that first block to make up for the gap that you've lost.
I'm just saying there's between the start of the season there's 5, if you count the first, August 1st, there's 5 Saturdays between there and September 1st.
Yeah.
So if you play the Carabao Cup on that first weekend, you're only going to get 4 league matches in. before the
assuming you're
window
not going to
ends.
replace the Carabao Cup midweek with another league match.
with another league match,
which I would expect them to do.
So you could get a fifth.
It wouldn't surprise me if the first couple of weeks of the season is Saturday, Tuesday.
Okay.
So, because if you think about it, if you're taking a 3-week block out, because we all have international breaks and they've got to fit those fixtures in. So you're going to play a lot more three game weeks, and notoriously what they try and do, or in those sort of situations, I would imagine they'll try and fit them in the first block.
And what was the date on that on that window again? The big international
break, September 21st to October 6th.
October 6th. Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. So it's 2 weekends. So basically it's 3 weeks with 2 weekends. Basically is what it will end up being. So yeah. Okay. So you're just taking the two and putting them together. That's all you're really doing. Instead of having too early, you're getting. Now, I don't think it'll change too much.
What do we think about the idea of our international players going away for potentially 4 matches together in a row? Good thing, bad thing, 1 versus 2.
Oh, you're wandering into club v country here, Paddy.
I am, yeah. No, okay. From the point of view of the league, like I don't care about the international side of it, whether it's good for them or not. But just thinking of our league clubs, do we feel it's better to have the block in one, get it dealt with, and be over with, or not?
I can't imagine a manager is happy. Any of the managers will be happy with losing players for 3 weeks.
The cynical side of me says that in the current format, where it's like essentially 2 weeks, you go into that first international block, and if you've got a player and it's he's got a niggle, so he misses the international break. The problem is at 3 weeks, the international team are going to say, well, that's fine. We'll take him anyway. We'll take him anyway, and we're assessing.
He'll play 3rd and 4th match.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So those sort of, if it's not an important game or a friendly or something like that, in those sort of situations, the club are going to lose the power that they probably have at the moment.
To say he's not going. Yeah.
To say he's not going. Which I think if you asked every single person in the chat and everywhere else, they will probably say, well, I want it to favour the club more so. So, I can't imagine the clubs are going to be too happy about it.
And what about the players staying behind? Is it a good, nice long break to work on some tactics, or how do you work on tactics with only half a team?
Youth academy step up.
I give you a good chance to bet in your new players. You sign in the window. I mean, if assuming they're not internationals.
Is there an argument to say you shouldn't be signing internationals?
Or at least ones that don't play.
Right.
Well, pick people from countries that don't get into the competitions.
I think the big problem is that on hindsight you'd say, oh yeah, it gives more time on the training pitch for, like you said, Aaron, new signings. But realistically, I mean, I listened to a lot of managers over the years, and you are surprised the amount, and we're not just talking, fully, over 25s here, under 21s, I'm sure will fit into the same thing. So the under 21s window will still be the same. So you're going to lose the younger players for the same amount of time. So all of a sudden you say, like, oh, it's extra training, but realistically for most championship sides, you're probably going to be missing 6-7 players out the squad.
Yep.
And training with 6-7 players less, yes, you're still training, but it's not going to be the same. So, and if you are asking youth players from your academy or whatnot to step up and train with the first team and that, well, it's fine, it's numbers, but it's not exactly training at full pelt, is it?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it'll be that. Elizabeth Jones, that was annoying. That he didn't even make either one of their squads. The games they played. Because boy, we sure could have used him on the weekend.
Okay, so fun next year. But back to this year. Now, that is my content for today. So we still have time. What else do we want to talk about?
I don't know.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, what do we want to talk about? I want to talk about here's okay. Let me just let me have my I got a rant on Wrexham. I have to do it.
Shall I get my popcorn?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Okay. He's throwing me fully under the bus. No, okay, so just the stats in this game. How in the hell did we have 61% of the possession? How in the hell did we have 2.02 XG to their 1.43? How in the hell did we have 21 shots to their 15? How in the hell did we have 8 on target to their 6? How in the hell did we have 366 accurate passes to their 221? How did we have 12 corners to their 9? Watching that game live, I did not feel like that at all. Like, if you looked at these numbers and nobody told you the score, you'd assume we beat the hell out of them. And we looked like garbage for most of that game. There was about a 20, 25-minute stretch in the second half where we looked really good and we were hammering them, and that's when we got our goal. But other than that, they just looked far and away better than us. Far and away better than us, I thought. Their speed definitely killed us.
Well, we lost the match because we had possession. We know what our stats should look like.
I know.
And our stats should not look like that.
Yeah, we like it the other way around. We definitely like
they
it.
They did to us what we do to everybody else.
But just watching the game, though, it didn't feel like that. Like, I just out of curiosity, I'm going to look at the half stat because it felt like in the first half they had all the ball. But even in that first half, we were 55% of their 45. I thought they had the ball the whole first half. It felt like they had the ball the whole first half. But we had it more than they did. And then the second half was where in the second half, we were 67-33. And we absolutely just the second half, it's just amazing. It's amazing. Our defense was horrible, though. I heard this. I heard Mark Goldbridge say this. Our defense is leakier than a fishnet condom.
He has a way with
like that sounds like Wrexham.
Yeah, he said that about his match with City.
Yeah. I heard that. It gave me a good giggle. I was like, boy, that sounds familiar. It was, yeah, I don't know, man. It was disappointing. Their speed killed us. Cody just didn't look anywhere. I mean, he looked so far off it. It was bad. I'm not sure that one's going to work out. You know, I mean, it's like, what do you do? I mean, I don't know. I think you got to get Ben Sheaf in. I still wonder if we change the formation a little bit just to get an extra defensive mid, you know, playing deeper. You know what I mean? Instead of, you know, to help cover that back three.
Well, we haven't solidly played a double pivot, though.
No, we haven't. And I'd like to see. I would like to see us play it. I think we need to. I think we need to get more defensive to get more solid because we are not. Yeah, not great.
I'm not giving up on Cody yet. I think he's been asked to do too much at the moment because he doesn't have enough solid around him. Now he isn't quick. That's fair enough. Like, I don't think anybody is going to defend that. But our center defender isn't quick. They haven't been quick in the past, and we've been perfectly fine without it. So, would you like him to be quick? Of course, but I think once we shore up everything else, he'll look a lot better. Not writing him off just yet.
I'm still surprised he's the starting middle of the three, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm thinking Heim goes in there.
Possibly. Like I said, I right at the start, I kind of questioned. I could understand the Cody signing from a impact player that you bring on in the last 10 minutes for the leadership and what he's done in the game. I'd just say a calming influence when you want to see a game out when it's a bit hectic. Last 10 minutes, bring him on. That's what I kind of expected him. But as soon as
we tend not to replace that position though. That's not a position we rotate during the match.
No, but not necessarily rotate, but bring an extra central defense. When you're just trying to shore up the game, see the game out for the last 10 minutes, he's the sort of guy you'd say, right, okay, you plonk an extra defender in there and just say, organise it, head it, kick it. That's all you do for 10 minutes to see out the game. I'm just very surprised he's been relied upon to be the main one of the middle three. But just my opinion.
Yeah, I know Parky likes experience, but I just don't think. I just don't know that one's going to work out. You know what I mean? That one worries me. And I think, what did we sign him on? 2 or 3? Was it 3 for him? I can't remember.
It was 2.7.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. No, I meant for how many years? How many years did he get? 2 or 3? So I don't know. He didn't look good. I'll tell you what. And I'm sorry, but they got Richard Kone for under $3 million. Oof, we missed on that one.
So did we.
Not getting him? I mean, good Lord. You know what, though? I'll be honest. I can't lie. I had my doubts because he did not look good the second half of last season. And I know a lot of people were putting that on the manager, but he didn't look fantastic. I think, you know what I mean? So
he's big and he's strong and he's fast, and those combination is dangerous to any team.
Tell you what, he's got a pretty nice shot on him. Just ask Okonkwo.
Yeah. But then again, let's be honest, Koenig scored a lot of goals last season. So, it shouldn't really come as a terrible surprise. No. I think we're all a little, I wouldn't say surprised, but he looks like he's making a step up. But clearly, let's be honest here, QPR aren't sort of, a top end team. So, if everyone thought he was that good, then he wouldn't be at QPR. He'd be at a
exactly. So here's the thing: if he has a good season this season, can't imagine he's still there next season. Somebody higher up will grab him, won't they? You would think.
It depends how many he gets. Yeah, he could.
I mean, right now he's got what? He got 3 from 3 games he's played for him? I think he's played 3 for him. I think he's 3 from 3. That's not bad.
Yeah, if he gets 10 to 15 goals for them and they finish mid-table, for example, they'll make a tidy profit.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he looked good. He looked really good against it. I wasn't his goals he scored in the one against Coventry. I didn't think was nothing super special. It was kind of a garbage time goal, and then the one he scored against Charlton was it Charlton? Yeah, Charlton was. It was. I mean, it was just a ball over the top that fell to it. You know what I mean? Two defenders ran into each other, and he just kind of ran onto it and scored it. So it wasn't nothing special. That goal he scored against us was a really nice goal. It was really nice. So can't take anything away from him. That's for sure. Oh, what else we want to talk about? I know I kind of mentioned it earlier. I mean, I think we're going to have big changes for us in our starting 11 come Saturday.
Yeah, well, look, we bought them to play them. This is the same thing. This is the same thing I was saying last season. Is with Scar. When Scar wasn't coming in for multiple weeks, I was like, "What the hell is going on?" sitting on the bench. Now, to me, it's pretty simple. If you're bringing in players, they should be better than the ones you have. You know, it does. To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to bring in people that are potentially at the same level. So that was the Scar one. Now, I don't think we're going to see that this season. I think this is it now. I think enough people have proven they need to be moved on. Last season, we started well. And
yeah, that's the thing. I think in that situation was different. We were playing
the previous
so well.
11 were playing well.
Yeah,
so it's understandable why you give them the shot.
Mm-hmm.
Putting the shoe on the other foot, though. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm surprised he didn't start the new players against QPR at home, because to me, that's the perfect game to bed in players against a team who are, I wouldn't say they're an amazing team. Yes, they're a mid-table team, but you had a very good chance of winning that game. The question I have now is, do you see him making that many changes, especially to your defence, where you've got to go to Carrow Road, and Norwich are a team that score goals this season? Does he risk changing it? Or, I mean, for example, say he brings in Hyam, he brings in the Sheaf, he plays midfield, and say they turn you over 3-1, 4-1. Then it's kind of like, what do you do then? You've played your best players and you've.
For me, yeah, you just have to keep playing them, though.
I think you have to. Yeah, I mean, you can't bring those guys in for the money we brought them in for and then not play them. I think you got to play them. At some point, you got to just throw them in and go.
I agree, but what I'm saying is Parky is a risk-averse manager. Do you think he looks at it and goes, well, Norwich away, that's going to be really tough. Do I want to upset the defence by making too many changes? You might make one.
To be fair, defense hasn't been very good, so is it? It's already. No. I think.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to think other side of the fence of, if you're in his shoes, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. I mean, say for example, he changes the defense, brings these players in, and Norwich hit you for 5. Then the confidence and everything, then where do you turn next? If you know what I mean, you can't go back to the players before, and then you go to a team that's just been tubbed. It's a difficult situation for him. That's what I mean. I'm very surprised he's put himself in this position by not starting them against QPR at home, because if you had played them against QPR at home and lost 3-1 like you did, well, then he's got an excuse to go back to the old guard in a tough match.
Okay, so John, I don't know if you saw this one. Aaron brought it up there. So Paddy and Aaron, did you hear that Kabore was late to show up for the game and was likely benched because of it? So the rumor is, Fearless in Devotion put it out there, that he turned up at 1:30 in the afternoon for a 3:00 match. Now, maybe he can make an argument that he messed up with his travel time, whatever, blah, 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 etc. But managers are known to say, okay, you're young, you're inexperienced, you're acting like an asshole, maybe. The big guy coming from City, you think you're too good. Well, you were playing today, sit your ass down. That's not unheard of. So the idea of the rumor, I think, in generally is sound. Managers have benched people for stuff like that, especially first match that they're going to be playing. I can understand it in general. But
I got a little pushback on that. I would understand it. Like I get if that happened, I would totally. I don't think there's a chance in hell he was going to start Kabore yesterday. Okay. Because he got in too late. I don't think, if I remember right, I think Parky even said, I don't know if it was in the post match. Well, he was coming in and they were giving him a rest that day. I don't think he's even trained with the team yet. I don't think he's actually taken training with the team. So I had a legit training session. So I don't think there's a chance in hell he was going to start him. Maybe he was. I just don't. I just doubt it. Now, that may not mean he may have been late and he may have gotten in trouble for it, but I don't think he was going to start that game anyway.
I think there's two ways to look at it. You would like to give a young lad, the benefit of the doubt. Maybe there was a reason for him being late. You don't. No one. If he was late, possibly.
Right.
So that's the one side. If he was just late because he was just late, you would say, well, you'd never be late at City, would you? Because he wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be
Right.
honest.
Yeah.
If he was late, well, then that says more about his character than anything. Like you said, Paddy, that's more of a, I'm Billy Big Bollocks here. And that needs sort of kicking out of him, if you would say. But like you said, you'd like to give the benefit of the doubt. If he was late, hopefully there was a legitimate excuse for
reason.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mike Shea put up this comment, or sent his comment. Kabore was still on Burkina Faso time. I just checked it. Burkina Faso time is English time, GMT time, because it's north-south. So that was not an issue unless he was playing his matches somewhere else. But either way, it would only have been an hour or two time difference, so it really doesn't matter.
I give Mike credit then, so factually he was correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. No, I think we'll get some changes. I think the way he's been talking, it sounds like a lot of the guys that weren't fit are getting back to fitness.
Okay.
I think Windass is probably close. We got a little bit. I mean, I think we'll start seeing some of those guys back in. I would expect to see Kabore this weekend. I would expect to see Hyam somewhere. If it was me, I think he's in for Cody for me, because I don't think I think of the back three. I think that was the problem. I think he was the one that struggled the most. So I would probably put Hyam in there in the middle and see how that went. The other two I didn't think were terrible. I don't know if they were good, but they weren't terrible. And then on the right, assuming that, or on the left, I mean, probably Longman, if Kakache's not healthy. Hopefully Kakache's healthy and he can go. But yeah. And then in the midfield, I think you got to play Sheaf. I'd like to see Sheaf and O'Brien in a double pivot, but as John said, he is risk averse, so I don't know if he'd make all those changes and change the formation at the same time. He might not do all of that. It might be take him a little while before he did some of that, so we'll see. But I think we definitely need to change it up a little bit. Well, hey, Kiefer Moore got another goal though, so
yeah,
we got a striker firing. That's good.
The issue, as I see it, is we have totally overloaded new players. We know we have. We've done 5 more than last year. And he slow-rolled them last year. But we have now brought in so many players, you need to rip the Band-Aid off.
I think so.
Because if you're going to change 3 or 4 players and then give them 2 matches to get up to speed, and then bring in another 3 or 4 players and give them another 2 matches to get up to speed, it's just going to take forever to slow roll everybody in. So if you believe from training that they're better, and you should have known that from when you bought them in the first place, that you're buying better players to replace people than you have, you just have to put them in. Swap the whole bloody team and say, right, this is it. We got what we got. You've got time. Do your best. And the thing is, you can defend that. At the end of the match, if you get a kick in 3-0 or whatever, 4-0, and you go out to the journalists afterwards and they ask you, what happened today? What happened today was we have changed our entire team. They haven't trained together. They need time to learn each other's patterns, know where everyone is going to be, and we just have to do our best until they get there. End of. Like, you can defend that action.
Yep, I agree.
I just don't think he does it.
Yeah, well.
Parky to me sounds more of a what you'd call a traditional sort of, he believes in the players, not the system, if you get me. Yeah. So it's more about the players are the synergy and they are the thing that keeps it. Whereas like for us with Davis, it's very much the system and how we play. It doesn't necessarily matter who plays in the positions because the system is the system. So you can come and chop and change players at your will. that's how we play. Whereas for me, Park is more of he likes to keep the synergy of the
Team
same
unity,
partnership,
dynamics,
team
fighting for
exactly.
each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like for it on the weekend. Like I said, I can see him making a couple of changes. The amount of changes that you guys probably want, I just don't see. I don't see him doing that. I really don't.
I think he'll figure it out. Although, in fairness, he's been not figuring it out about Maka for quite a while now. So, I sometimes you just look at it and you say, like, how can a manager not see what almost everybody seems to be seeing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you can flip that. Okay, how much in the dressing room and in the training pitch and everything else can make that much of a difference in Parky's eyes? Yeah, and it's this balance between your old school player, die for the team, will give it everything he has, will push everybody around him, but at what point you can't do it?
Every manager has that one player on the blind
That they
spot,
just won't sit.
Yeah. They just every manager has it. It's stupid because it's like it's such a ridiculous thing to say, but you go through every club's manager has one. You ask any fan of every club, there's always one player you just say, I have no idea why he's ever included. The manager just never drops him.
I think that's on this bombshell. That's a great spot to end it. And on that bombshell, guys, I think we're going to end it there. I had a really good time on tonight's show. I thought it was fun. And I hope you guys all enjoyed it too and are looking forward to next season, because we spent a lot of time talking about next season. But next week we will be back to a little bit more on the matches, most likely, unless some other craziness happens during the week. Back at it. So until then, guys, take care. See you soon.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.